responses, people telling me this since I started. And I'm thinking, there's so much to this. When we place the demonic label on something, it's out of fear because we do not understand it. Now, are there demons out there? Are there negative entities that are influencing people? I don't see why not. It's a possibility. The most demonic thing is our minds, especially when we go out and we do evil acts. We have evil thoughts. That's where the demons start, in our minds and in our hearts. But
Right.
the outside world being influenced, it's a bit more difficult to say. Now, are there extraterrestrials or interdimensionals that have malicious intent? People have them. Why can't aliens, right? Why can't these entities have them as well? But looking at the politicians sharing their angel demonic ideology on this, yes, I've heard of it. Articles have been written on it. I've heard it on a personal level as well. And the thing is that it's disappointing. That's what I think. I think
It
it's
is.
disappointing to have that mentality and pushing disclosure in the non-positive light. Now, the possibility could also be, what if it's by design? What if it's to influence other people to have this level of fear, to be scared? Because yes, when you bring up demons, yes, there is this level of fear. Because we think of all the movies, we think of all the biblical references, right? We're like, oh my goodness, they're here to take us all the way down to hell for eternity, right? Like, yeah, that would scare anybody, right?
Right. Right.
And so it could be taken two ways. Either these politicians are really believing that and they're not wanting to push it forward, or it's by design. Or maybe a third option that I haven't thought of yet.
Yeah. Okay. Categorized other.
Yeah.
But
Which we saw in the Arrow report a few years ago.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. That's hilarious. Yeah, just other. Yeah, okay. Speaking of commonalities, what there seems to be a tie between the nuclear programs and UFO sightings.
That's right.
In your research, what can you say about UFOs and their occupants and their interest in our and the world's nuclear capabilities, research, development, etc.?
There's a
Because
lot of research that's been done when it comes to UFOs and nuclear facilities. And we can actually look at when Arrow used to be the AOIMSG, and I'm so happy they got rid of that
AIMSOG,
acronym. Ugh,
yeah.
right?
Ugh.
Where you had Bray and Moultrie, and they were asked by Representative Gallagher about the Maelstrom Air Force Base incident where UFOs were seen over a nuclear site, and that was very scary. They had no information on it, but they would provide information behind closed doors. Then, about a month ago, Anna Luna asked the Department of Energy the exact same question of, is there a protocol for when UFOs are seen over nuclear facilities? And the thing is that this particular hearing, a lot of people didn't catch it. And I was 3 weeks behind. I was so upset when I found out 3 weeks late that the DOE was asked the exact same questions and they could provide no information. They say, oh, well, these UFOs are probably drones. So Anna Paulina Luna killed it and said, what about the ones prior to when drones were created? And she's like,
Right.
I was like, you go, girl. Like, that's awesome. And the, gosh, her name is escaping me. I believe it's like Jennifer. Her last name is, but to continue.
Was she the representative from DOE?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
yeah.
And
Right.
so she spoke forward. She spoke out about the protocols, stating that yes, there are protocols, and I can talk to you about it behind closed doors. But what I'm getting at here is that even in present day, these representatives are asking about UFO protocols over nuclear facilities, since I would say a good chunk of the public is now become aware of that interest. We can even look at the Rendlesham Forest incident back in the 1980s as well. We can look about the one that took place in the 1980s as well, in when Ukraine used to be a part of the USSR, where they had their own issue and it was like pretty scary stuff.
Was that
But
the one?
here's
Was that the one
Go ahead.
where essentially World War III was averted?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's the one.
that one gives me they all give me chills, but that one especially gives me
That
chills.
one in particular is very scary. Now, we can only imagine that these other countries are also having the same issues. India had spoken out about it last year about their sightings with UFOs and nuclear facilities and that interest, which is shocking. But here's the thing, looking up at the stars at night, each one, every single one of them is a sun, and we're finding planets orbiting them all the time. And some of these are habitable zones within the habitable zone. And so our future is out there. The thing is that if we do not destroy ourselves and if we remain curious and look for life on other worlds in our own starships, but right now, we're only looking through them through telescopes, right? But the future is going to be out there. So for me, it's more reasonable to think that UFOs might be visitors, maybe from many different civilizations, here with this level of curiosity, looking from afar. Well, at least, most of the time. But we will one day, we will be there for ourselves, be in space in the future. We are seeing that with Elon Musk's interest with placing a colony on the moon and on Mars, but also with NASA and all these other companies attempting to colonize the moon as well. And at some point, we will discover different means of propulsion versus using just your basic fossil fuels. So it's just, I mean, just to chalk it all down to angels and demons in particular, I think it's very unrealistic. And the thing is that visitors would be very interested in our nuclear technology for sure, especially if these are shareholders, right? Why are they going to allow us to ruin the entire planet when they have investments in our environment, in our resources, and who knows whatever else? So what if we're even just a tourist spot?
A big Disneyland.
Yeah.
That
Maybe a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, all the UFOs, when they talk to each other, they're like, you gotta see this place, it's right on this highway of whatever, it's Cosmic Highway 14. You gotta stop there. They're apes that have thermonuclear weapons. Yeah, they're pretty wild. But the thing is people don't understand that the like, we've been given a paradise, right? This planet, it's so diverse, it's so beautiful, and we find life in the most unexpected spots. Near the surface of a volcano, or inside the sea, where it's like a vent, and it just seems that life thrives anywhere and everywhere. So to think that it isn't out there, I think it's naive. And it's just about a matter of time until some sort of event happens. And what do you think? Do you think there is a controlled disclosure happening, or are we going to end up with some sort of catastrophic disclosure?
Why can't it be both? What if these people that are attempting to keep the lid on this conversation are attempting to prevent catastrophic disclosure, but you can't always be in full control? The thing is that in the last 40 years or so, 50, there's been a big uptick in UFO movies. Now, TV shows, even in your kids' shows, there's aliens involved, either in one episode or as the entire plot. Now, all of a sudden, let's say since 2017, when the New York Times article was released about ATIP and Luella Zondo, that set a catalyst for showing an interest. Then all of a sudden, the government in the United States in particular was stating, oh, now we have an interest in it. Now there's something to see here. But countries in South America, Uruguay being one of the first ones, had a UFO office since the 80s. We can Japan, China as well, Russia, the 80s. Okay, and before then. The United States is very behind, but they are on stage. The spotlight is on them because the whole world is watching. Are we going to get catastrophic disclosure? That might not be up to us. But right now, it seems as if there is a slow drip disclosure. And the nice thing is that people are more open to talk about this, to where you say aliens, and they're like, yeah, duh, come on, we can't be the only ones here. 20 years ago, people would say, we're the only planet with life, we're the smartest ones in the entire universe, blah, 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 because they were taught that. Now we're being taught something different, and it's just being adapted as the years progress.
So I would say that there was a correlation between technology and this topic, and the awareness of this topic. It is because because we're not watching the news on a nightly basis. That's not the world we live in anymore, where even if they did a segment, it would have the X-Files music. Now people are getting their news. Their algorithms are literally giving them their news. It's not the news, it's their news. So do you see any future problems arising from AI and a false flag type of event between nations? Because it seems we're one miscalculation away.
There's a lot of issues already happening with AI that multiple countries are beginning to realize, so much so that the UK Parliament is already placing laws in order to protect people from AI, and the United States is following close to that as well. There's been some very interesting research with the involvement of AI on a very negative scale, but also on a positive one as well. The thing is that it really just depends whose hands it's in. And I know that's vague. I know it's not the answer that people are looking for, but there's definitely so many positive things to AI that we simply just we're not able to conceptualize in our brain in a short period of time. AI is able to do that with tests when it comes to space exploration, when it comes to medicine as well. Those are two really big key factors that these AI researchers are really pushing for. But there have been tests done as well where if AI was playing as a military and it got into an argument with another country that was also AI, how would they dispute the issue? And nuclear war was kind of one of the very high ones up there. Now, with AI, it's able to be programmed and fixed up. But when it begins to remember and learn that we're seeing with Sophia or 𝗚𝗥𝗑 or a few others that are coming down the pipeline, that's where it gets a bit more difficult to control. But I think is that if you give it a good base and you have it surrounded by good people with good intentions, we might just be okay. If anything, humans are going to destroy each other before AI does.
I would think so, right? It would be humans using. And I again, it's not like we asked the libraries if they were okay that we created the internet. There's always going to be that thing that ushers in next. We're humans. It seems that we have this desire to create, consume, rinse, repeat. And I think, do you think that this could maybe be the result of our programming? People ask why are humans here? What is our purpose? Do you think it was always inevitably to create the next life form?
Maybe it's not about life form, but humans have desires and those are inquenchable. If you fulfill one desire, you'll have another one. So when you hit a threshold, the thing that'll make you feel like God is to create some kind of life or to be in control of it.